Hey guys, it's Courtney and Seth here with another installment of
Unravel with the Jackson Travels.
And today we are going to be comparing the 3 premier hotels at Universal Orlando and seeing which one is the best. So if you'd like to join us, let's go. So before we begin, I do want to tell you guys a little bit about the tier system that we have worked out to compare the 3 hotels. And those hotels are going to be Royal Pacific, Portofino Bay Hotel, and Hard Rock Hotel. So we have broken down the different parts of the hotel that we think are most important, and we are going to be ranking those parts with a first place, second place, and third place category for each hotel. So the categories that we have chosen that are most important to us, and I feel probably pretty important to most people, are going to be price, theme/immersion, pools, shops, restaurants and food, and amenities. So since we are awarding a first, second, and third place category, the hotel with the lowest score at the end will actually be the winner, similar to golf, because everybody wants that first place category. So the first category we're going to start with is price. So do want to note, Seth and I both have our own sheets, so we're not going to look at each other's scoring, and we're going to have our own opinions, so they could be different. Okay, so I'll go first, and I am going to tell you guys my first place category for price, and that is actually Lowe's Royal Pacific. I feel like every time we've stayed there, it's been pretty consistently lower in price, with Portofino Bay as my number 2 and Hard Rock as number 3. I say that because I think in the summer, it's going to be a year since we've stayed at Hard Rock, or actually, it may be around Mardi Gras time. I can't exactly remember, but we haven't stayed there in a while just because we haven't been able to find the price, unfortunately. But what was your number 1?
Actually, it was the same as yours. It was Royal Pacific, so I agree that's one that
Pretty
seems
consistent.
to always be the cheapest. Happens to be that when we go.
Yeah.
And then I actually got Hard Rock as second and Portofino as third. I kind of thought that I'd normally see Portofino as the highest when we happen to look, but
yeah. And in all fairness, this has been since COVID, and we do look at annual pass holder rates. Regardless, they're going to have a variation in price as well, just like the regular rates. But in all fairness, Hard Rock hasn't been available a lot of the times either. So really, we don't have much to compare it to other than the fact that it just wasn't even available for us to stay at. So I can see why you put that. But let's move on to the next category, which is theme/immersion. So for theme/immersion, I'll start again. So my number 1 is Portofino Bay. That hotel is beautiful. I know when we stayed there, even when we were driving in from the airport, we kind of came around a clearing, and you just see the bay and the seaside villa is what it's, themed to. And it kind of took your breath away. Like it's so beautiful. It's humongous, and it's really secluded kind of away from a lot of the other hotels. I think it's the last one for the water taxis. So all throughout the hotel, there's theming as soon as you walk into the lobby to your rooms. Anything and everything is themed, but really I think it's that outside facade for me that's really important. Royal Pacific was my number 2. It has, I think, a scaled back version of Portofino for that seclusion. When you walk in across the bridge, the whole hotel or front of the hotel is kind of surrounded by water and a lot of greenery. And Hard Rock is just my number 3. We like Hard Rock, but we don't really stay there for the theming necessarily. If you've been to a Hard Rock cafe, it's going to be very similar as far as the, not merchandise, but the memorabilia that you see. So what was your number 1?
Mine was the same.
Okay.
Portofino Bay. That one is the most beautiful resort I've seen that Universal has. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, when you go there and you're there, you feel like you're not even in Orlando anymore.
Yeah.
But my number 2 was Royal Pacific. The same.
Okay.
So we actually went the same on the theming, but that one is close to Portofino, but it does
scaled back.
Yeah, have a
it
nice
really is.
With the art and there's like plenty of like orchid flowers and
in all fairness,
ornament things.
It is a smaller resort.
Yeah.
So they do it, I would feel like, on the same scale as Portofino, but obviously they're not as big, so it doesn't seem as much.
And Hard Rock, it has the memorabilia. So like if you really like to look for like guitars and clothing used by artists, they've got that. But other than that, to me, it just kind of feels like a hotel.
Yeah.
Like if I went to a...
Not necessarily like a resort.
Yeah, it doesn't feel too resort-like. It just feels like a regular hotel in the theming aspect.
Yeah. Okay, so I will go first for the pools. Portofino Bay, again, as number one, just because there are several pools. And to me, and I would say probably to you too, if I had to guess where your number one is, it's important for us because a lot of the times when we do go to the pools, which isn't a lot, they're really crowded. When we stayed at Portofino, we were able to go to another pool when the main pool was kind of crowded. And they had a hot tub, like we were able to relax and actually like take a load off after a long day. And that was during HHN. So we needed some time to relax. And their pools are beautiful and don't get me wrong, but that's really the most important thing for me is we had actually somewhere to go that wasn't so busy. Number two is Hard Rock for me, just because I really like the beach bar atmosphere, and something that I thought was really cool was the water or under the water music place.
Yeah.
So that to me is like a little bit more, I want to say adult almost, like it almost has more of like a chill beach type atmosphere. Like if you did want to go there to have like a couple of drinks and hang out with your friends or your family, to me that is pretty neat. And for the last one, Royal Pacific, one pool, no water slide, a kiddie play area. The Bull Bar and Grill is pretty good, but it is very simple. So what was your number one?
The same. I think we actually did the same
for this one.
This whole category as well. I gotta agree with the Portofino Bay being number one, with having the 3 or 4 pools.
Yeah.
There's one that is quite small, but it's all the way by itself. But
now, is it the beauty part for you, or is it the for me? Like, was it the accessibility?
I like the difference in types of pools. Like they've got the Beach Bay one with the sand and a little bar and grill.
Oh, and the lazy river. There was one that had a lazy river and the water slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had a jacuzzi too. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
I don't know. That one, the beach pool, is like the coolest looking pool out of these 3 resorts. So I'm gonna give that one 1. And then I've got Hard Rock because I think it's pretty cool with the music, and they got a water slide, so I like like water rides or slides and that type of thing.
Something to keep you occupied.
And then I have to put
Royal Pacific as number 3
because it's kind of the smallest pool. It looks cool, and they show movies, which I think all of them do.
Yeah.
But anywho, that's what I
can't compare. Okay, so I will go first again. So for shops, this one is not that important to me. Hate to say it, but I know for a lot of people it is important, and I'll explain kind of how that went into my choices. So first is Portofino Bay for me, just because there's literally anything and everything. Again, not exactly that important to me, but this one is going to be, I guess, more factually based, like the price, just because Portofino has so many shops. They have like a trinket sort of shop. They have the Universal shop itself. I think at one point they had an art gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like they have, I don't want to say off the wall stuff, but they just have a lot. Like
very different.
Yeah, it is very different. Second, I had trouble giving a second place title between Hard Rock and Royal Pacific, again because shopping isn't really that important to me at the hotels. But I actually went with Hard Rock as my number 2, just because they offer some of the Universal stuff, but they also offer some of the Hard Rock stuff. So that's a little bit different. You know, it's like stuff you can get that literally just says Hard Rock Orlando. Like, it's not really Universal specific. And lastly would be Royal Pacific for me, just because the Universal shop is a little bit on the smaller side, and they do have the like swim shop downstairs, but I know we went in there before for like Band-Aids, and they didn't really have that big of a selection. So again, I had a little bit of trouble for second place, because I think Royal Pacific has more, but Hard Rock has a little bit more variety. But what about you?
So I went with Portofino Bay as number one, like you did. I think the variety of shops and the quantity of them puts that one at the top there. You have plenty of things to look at and purchase. And then I went with Royal Pacific for number two, so that's a little different. Picked that one pretty much over Hard Rock because they do have multiple, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Hard Rock just has the one shop.
I think so. That's what I was thinking too, but again, shopping at the hotel isn't that important to me, so I really went with the variation for my number two. All right, so no surprise. Once again, for me, Portofino Bay was number one. For Seth and I won't speak for you, not quite yet, but for me, I know when we are at the hotel, I want access to not just like beach bar food or sit down restaurants. I also want access to quick grab and go items or snack items, because when you're walking all those miles every day, just because you have dinner don't mean come 11 o'clock at night you're not going to want a sandwich or something, because sometimes it's a lot. So we really liked Portofino for that reason, because they had several sit down restaurants. They had what was that called? It was like the deli market?
Sal's Market.
Market Deli, yeah. It had sandwiches, different Italian dishes, and also quick grab and go items like smoker sandwiches and like Doritos and cold cut sandwiches. So that's a really good variation, I personally think. For number two, I did go with Royal Pacific, just because they have I'm not exactly sure I can't remember what it's called. In the lobby, it's like their grab and go center. It's pretty new. Yeah. It's like Tuk Tuk Market, I think, or Tuk Tuk. I'm not exactly sure the pronunciation. But they have like little grill items, like hot dogs, I think. And they also have the grab and go items as well. And then Hard Rock doesn't really have any option like that. It's really just the kitchen. And they have the ice cream.
The EMAC and Bolio's. It does have some of the grab and go things. It does seem a little smaller. I think the coffee shop is also in that too.
Well. The Starbucks.
Yeah, which is like the Tuk Tuk Market. It also has a coffee portion in there.
Yeah. So what was your number one?
Number one was Portofino again. So that one, like you said, I might be a sucker for Italian food, but they have a pretty good selection of options, whether you want to go to the Fish Head Bar.
I forgot about that one.
The Sal's Market, which we went there like almost every day for something.
Just for a drink or something.
Mama Della's is there, and then they've got the upscale. Oh God, there's so many I can't even remember. I can't remember.
The Bistro, that is the upscale one, and then the the one we ate breakfast at. Yeah, Del Porto or something.
Yeah, I think
we're butchering these. I'm so sorry, but
And then I actually picked Hard Rock as my second. So I think that's what you picked.
Hard Rock was actually my number three.
Oh, okay. Well, I went with that one because I love the kitchen.
Yeah.
And they've got the Palm, which is like their upscale restaurant. Apparently a lot of people go there just to eat that don't even stay at the hotel.
Yeah, it has like its own entrance.
That nice, and we haven't went there yet, but they do have the menu outside, and those items.
Pricey.
Yep. So
pricey.
Just be aware of that. And I like their pool bar. And grill, like snack food.
And you put.
And for number three was Royal Pacific. That one. I don't know. It's close. Some of these are really hard to decide because I do like the island, and I like their Bula Bar and Grill at the pool. So That one was really close, but I just put it as 3.
All right. So lastly, for amenities, I want to clear up exactly what we were thinking when we built this category. Because some people define amenities differently. But Universal, a lot of the times, defines that including like the water taxis and stuff like that. Or I know Hard Rock used to have a Rock Rewards program. So we're kind of taking those into consideration too. They may not be traditional amenities, but just an FYI. So my number 1 is actually Hard Rock. Just because it is so close to the parks. For me personally, that kind of trumps everything else. Just because, again, we don't really care about the shopping and some of the other stuff as much. So for me, that's why I put Hard Rock as number 1. They also did used to have the I can't remember what it's called. The reward program.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. I think they recently changed it, but we did get reward points every time we stayed towards a free night. So that's a biggie that none of the other ones offer, just because Hard Rock is somewhat independent, like they have other resorts. And that's really the top 2 for me for Hard Rock. I did put Portofino Bay as number 2, just because they do have a lot of stuff that you can do. They have the music at the bar, they have the opera singers, all of them have an arcade. I think there's just a lot to do around the resort, and it's really big. They also have the spa, it's the only one with the spa. We don't go to the spa, so again, that's my number 2. And Royal Pacific is just going to be number 3. Again, it feels the smallest to me. But it has like the traditional amenities as any of the other hotels, as far as the arcade, some other stuff to do. Like, I think, what is that? I'm trying to think of the name of it. Croquet court or croquet lawn.
Yeah.
They have that, like little stuff like that. Nothing too major, but what you would expect at a resort. But what was your number 1?
It happened to be Hard Rock, which was the first time in all the categories that I put it as first.
Yeah, me too.
But it's hard for me to beat that proximity to the parks. Like, we love the option of just, we don't want to wait on the water taxi. We're just going to walk like 5 minutes or something. We timed it.
We'll put that up on the screen here.
It is so close.
I think Portofino is the farthest.
For walking.
Yeah.
And then
Royal Pacific, and then Hard Rock is number 1.
Yeah. But I like Hard Rock. Mainly, it's just the walk.
It's that. Yeah. It's a big deal for us. And it may not be for you, but it is for us.
So number 2, I went with Portofino Bay. I like that one almost as good as Hard Rock, but since it's not as close, that factor weighs in a whole lot for me. But it does have the spa, like you were saying, and so I think that's what helped edges
and entertainment.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
But it helps edge over Royal Pacific.
All right, so we have the final tallies here. So for me, Portofino Bay came in first place with only 8 points, and Hard Rock and Royal Pacific were actually tied with 14 points for second place. That's pretty much what I figured. Portofino Bay is a huge resort, and as far as all of the categories that we listed, they're pretty much going to take the cake, just because they have the space and the really it's just the space to do all this stuff, to have multiple shops, restaurants, multiple things to do, have more intricate theming, because it's all the way back there by itself. But personally, I do think that based on this, Hard Rock for me is still going to be the number 1, because for Seth and I, the amenities tab is weighted a little bit more, just because the walk is too hard to beat. I mean, it's a couple minutes to and from Universal. If we don't want to wait on the water taxi, we can be back at the hotel in no time. And I mean, we like the theming of that hotel and everything else, because we spend a lot of time in the theme park, so we're not necessarily worried about all these other little aspects of the hotel because we don't spend as much time there. But what was your tally results?
So I had Portofino Bay as number 1 with 9 points. So we had the same first one, which I expected Portofino Bay to be my number 1. That is my favorite of the 3. Unfortunately, we've only stayed there once, and the others we've stayed multiple times. So I hope we can make it back sometime.
Yeah.
Hard Rock was second with 13 points, and Royal Pacific was 14 points in third place.
Yep.
Portofino Bay being my favorite. The only unfortunate thing with that one is that it is the longest walk, and since that part like weighs a whole lot for both of us, that's probably my biggest negative with that one.
Yeah.
But I kind of expected it to be a little closer with Hard Rock to be in second and not have so many points behind. But anywho, Portofino wins.
Yeah. So Portofino is the winner for both of us. I do want to reiterate that we have done resort reviews for all 3 of these premier Universal hotels, with a couple of the value hotels. We're still working on getting all of those covered for you guys. But if you want some specifics, I know we threw some B-roll in here of the resorts, but if you want more specifics on what we mentioned, feel free to go over and check out those videos, and we hope you get to make your own decision very soon. Regardless, all 3 of these hotels do give you the express passes, so if that is the big thing for you, or the walk is the big thing for you, we've kind of given you all the information we can on that. But we hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like this video and comment. Let us know what your favorite hotel is, or if you haven't stayed at any of them, which one you look forward to staying to the most. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more Universal content coming soon. So until next time, we hope to see you on the next adventure. Bye.